Hi, it's Deborah Tutnauer again with Deborah Tutnauer Transformational Success Coaching, and I'm going to share with you something today that I wrote, and it's an answer to the question, what makes me unique? What makes me different? Right? And I had a really fortunate experience very recently. I met someone on Google Plus, which is a wonderful place to hang out if you're looking to meet intelligent, committed people who are really interested in engagement and in relationships. And in the conversation with this particular person, we shared a little bit about ourselves, and one of the questions he asked me was, what makes me different? What makes me different than the sea of coaches out there? And it was just fortuitous that I had put that question out to you in a recent video and asked you to think about that for yourself, told you that I would think about it for myself, which I do all the time, and that I'd share it with you. So rather than being off the cuff, which I normally am, I am going to actually show you or read to you what I wrote. And you have to forgive my eyes not looking right at the camera because I'm going to be reading, but I think it's worth it. So, here's what I wrote to my friend Steve. And Steve, if you're watching this, thank you so much for the inspiration. I wrote, as you saw, because he has been looking at some of my videos, some of my work online, I know my craft, and I am indeed quite distinct from the sea and masses of coaches. I'm on a mission right now to shine brightly through that fog, so that those I am destined to impact can find me. My brightness comes from speaking only truth, from operating only from kindness, and from not being afraid to own my power and own the depth of what I can bring to the table for others. I used to collect college degrees of higher learning. I have a few master's degrees. Back in the 1980s, I taught special education. I worked primarily with children with moderate to severe disabilities. When I went back to get a second master's degree in clinical social work, it was primarily to work with the families of those children. Ultimately, I became more of a generalist. I worked with children and families and had a clinical social work practice for many years. I did 50-minute psychotherapy hours focusing on challenging situations, environmental difficulties, and pretty severe mental health issues. And I really, really loved my work. Loved the impact, loved the families, loved being an entrepreneur, being self-employed, a solopreneur. It's what I've done for many, many years. Okay, I'm ad-libbing a little. If you've noticed, I'm reading and I'm ad-libbing. That's okay. It's all truth. Okay, so I got married at 40 years old. Prior to that, in addition to collecting all those degrees and doing all kinds of work within special education and mental health, I did a lot of traveling, exploring, meditating, lots of esoteric kind of out there endeavors. I lived overseas. I traveled across the United States a number of times, usually with my tent and a stuffed Doberman Pinscher in the passenger seat of my car, figuring that if someone saw it at a glance, they wouldn't realize it wasn't a real dog, and that made me safe as a woman traveling across the country all by herself in a little red sports car. I climb mountains still, one of my favorite things to do. I love to ski, and I get my energy, I get my solace from being in nature. So when my daughter was born in 2002, I realized fairly quickly that my therapist energy and my parenting energy were the same energy. And there wasn't room within my heart at that point in time to do both. Or to do both well, I should say. At 43 years old, I was not going to miss a moment of life with this child. I had waited too long for her to come, to be alive in my arms. I did feel a conflict. I didn't feel a pull to my career or a feeling of giving anything up to focus then on being a mom. It was the absolute right thing to do. I am incredibly blessed to have a husband who supports all of my choices, from that one, which was to basically be a full-time mom for my daughter's early years, to all of the entrepreneurial endeavors that ensued after our daughter got a little bit older. He supports me as a go-getter, as a risk taker, his steadfastness and his commitment to his corporate job have given me quite a foundation for exploration and the ability to fail a few times without worrying about food or shelter. For this, I really am immensely grateful. I know many people do not have that. Many people are living a little more on the edge, and I can empathize with that scenario. I really give you a lot of kudos for stepping out. And I think sometimes living on the edge might even give you a little more, what's the word, propulsion to make it happen for you. So there's both sides. I'm grateful for my husband and blessed for the security that he gives my family, which has really enabled me to spread my wings, take some risks, and ultimately fly really, really high. So onward. For a number of years after I stopped really actively being a full-time therapist, I marketed things, I marketed products, and I got really good at it online and offline. Yet it was always the people for me. It was the coaching and the teaching that continued to inspire me in every single thing that I did, and the learning. And thus it was natural for me to circle back around to my counseling and combine those deep skills with an understanding of entrepreneurship, marketing, home business, and the challenge. It's a unique combination in the success coaching world. I ride the line between business coaching, therapy, and spiritual, energetic enlightenment in the work that I do with people. It's a unique pot. That's the best way I can describe it. And when a client works with me, I know for a fact that they feel inherently changed. They don't just do different activities. They don't even just have a different mindset, though both of those things are true. But when people work with me, they feel they are shifted. They are opened on a very deep level. And ultimately, they become free to be who they really are, unencumbered with baggage and with stories that no longer serve them. And if I had to sum up in a nugget, what's different about me? It's not all the bullet points of what I can do. It's not all the techniques. It's not all the methods. It's actually what goes on in the space between my energy, skills, and experience and that of my client. And in that space, there is a shift and an opening in the person who works with me that most of my clients have told me has never happened to them before in any of the coaching experiences that they've had. And I think you'd have to experience that for yourself, which is why I do vision sessions that are complimentary, because I want people to feel that energy, to feel what's going on in that space, to determine if it's something that's valuable for them. So, in an essence, is the message, the message that I'm compelled and committed to share to my audience. I'm committed to you. I'm committed to me. I'm committed to living in a very open level of truth and kindness and shining that forward, thus being a beacon for the people who are searching, for the people who must find me, so that my gifts can allow them to become all that they need to be, want to be, can be. Blessings. This is Deborah Tutnauer. I appreciate you being here. Please click the subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss the steady flow of videos that I am also committed to creating over the next year.